difficulty with the budget
aspect of it.
because right now it costs me less to have a security guard driving around the building.
Yeah. And I guess the security guards that are there, like, have you had instances where, like, if a security guard saw something happening in real time, like, is the security guard going to intervene and actually stop what's happening, or
It won't do anything that a camera would do. I mean, they observe and report. That's what they do.
Yeah.
They don't,
Yeah.
they don't go and get in mixed up in it.
Yeah, which is a difficult situation, right? I wouldn't really want to approach people that don't look super friendly that are stealing stuff. I don't blame them, let me show you a few more things real quick.
Okay.
That might just give a little bit more perspective on kind of what we provide from a software standpoint. Okay. So this unit that I have pulled up here, this is with a property management group down in Atlanta. But this is what we call our VMS, what we're looking at right here, video management system. You log in, username, password, and then you have access to all your different, units or cameras that you're looking at. So here at this location, we actually have 2 different units, and then you can obviously see all your different camera views, on either side of the unit. So that we're, live streaming right now. And you obviously have full control of the PTZ to kind of move it and look around at what you please, right?
Can we look straight down and see if someone was tampering with the trailer?
Yep. So that's actually something that's built into the system is, we call it tamper detection.
Yes.
And yeah, basically the system is designed where if it detects that someone is trying to get in the cabinets down here, it'll play a sound and the camera will actually point straight down and record what's going on down below.
Oh, that's interesting. And detected how? Motion?
So it's not motion, but there's these things that they basically put on the inside of the cabinet doors that basically, if somebody is going to try and, separate those, and we can even look, and there's even an alert that says, base entry detected, and the camera looking straight down.
It's just like a car alarm then. If somebody opens the door,
the
alarm goes off.
It's going to go off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
With my car alarm, they've already broken in when I get the alert.
Yeah.
But so it doesn't deter them from actually doing the break-in.
Yes.
Because my car alarm, if it detects jostling or vibration, it goes off.
Yeah, and there's a similar sensor kind of on our cabinet doors. The same thing. It's like something that has to do with the vibration or the actual, tampering of the device. So
this installation has one PTZ.
So it actually has
PTZ.
Yeah, so the optical PTZ is the one we're looking at right now, and you'll notice it's just labeled as the center camera.
Yeah.
And then as well, there's the left camera right here, which is also a PTZ, but it has the optical and the thermal left thermal lenses. So if we jumped over here into the left camera, it is a PTZ, but you get a thermal view and an optical view with this PTZ as well. So we can just turn it back and look. This is just the regular, optical PTZ. Then we could switch to the thermal, and it'll give us that thermal view of, what we're looking at here.
No.
So this is basically where we would draw that bounding box, right? That geofence. We could draw it around this parking lot, and exclude the street, or we could pretty much draw it, on any view that we want to see here. And then we would receive the alerts, obviously, if people are crossing those boundaries or jumping the fence or entering the parking lot, whatever you want to see.
How accurate is that?
It's extremely accurate because, and it's all heat signature based, right? So you could have all sorts of crap going on, but unless it's giving off a heat signature. So sometimes we'll catch deer or, other animals in there. But that's kind of where the monitoring,
Yeah,
they
I
can
was going
obviously
to ask you about that. So when you have live monitoring, they're really taking a look when an event occurs like that. You're not
Yep,
sitting there staring at the screen all the time.
exactly. Which would be, you could argue, is somewhat wasteful, right? You're staring at a screen for 24 hours a day and you might catch, 10 minutes worth of events. So basically
Yeah.
what happens is heat signatures detected, alert comes through, live monitoring company is jumping in within roughly 15 seconds of the event happening, and then using a speaker, notifying police, notifying you of, when an event occurs. You basically instruct them on what to do in an instance, right?
So if you saw an intruder here and you wanted to speak to them on the speaker, where is the interface that lets you do that?
Yep, there's a little audio option right here.
Oh, okay.
Click speaker, call unit, and I would just
Yeah.
talk to my computer and it would display my voice down.
All right. And what are your options under play sounds? What kind of a sound do you have? Like a siren sound or?
Yeah, so there's three different kind of pre-recorded messages, and can depend on the client, right? This is just the three that these guys have loaded up.
Yeah.
This one is trespassing, you are trespassing, this is being recorded. The other one is, hey, we're going to notify the police if you don't leave. And then this one is, don't touch the unit. That's the sound that plays if it detects tampering. That's the sound that it plays, is like, do not touch the unit, you're being recorded, all this stuff. So,
Yeah.
and you can record your own too. A lot of people record their own and play dogs barking and all sorts of crazy stuff over the speaker. So it's pretty
So
customizable.
your clients really get into it then.
Yeah, you can get as detailed as you want and make it as customized for the property as you want. And we have people call us all the time and say, hey, I want to swap this out, or I want to change this, or, make an adjustment here. All your lights, right? You got a floodlight and those strobe lights that are controllable from here. And obviously if you're familiar with hike vision, um, these hike vision cameras are all 32x optical zoom,
Yes.
which is pretty dang good. I mean, you could read a license plate, you could identify a person. I mean, the zoom on them is pretty dang crazy. And then as well, we have a snapshot button down here, right? If something's happening in real time, you can actually just take a snapshot of the environment or the license plate, download it. You got your timestamp, you got all sorts of stuff that you could,
So that yellow car, I was going to ask to look at that closely. Excuse me, but now I see it's moving. But how far can you get in there? And of course, they
let's
have no
see,
license plate on the front.
of course. Um,
But
we
okay, let's pick that one. Can you actually resolve that plate? Yes, you can.
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Now,
That's the great thing about.
is this camera have a license plate reader part of it, or is that a separate thing?
So we don't offer any license plate detection currently.
Yeah.
Definitely on the roadmap, because we get asked that 100 times a week. So nothing right now, but it's definitely going to be coming out pretty soon as a feature. So
What kind of analytics do I get?
the analytics that basically we provide are the most basic option of just the line crossing and the events and the heat signature detection.
Do you offer any kind of facial recognition technology?
Same thing as the license plate. We get asked about it all the time. We don't have anything yet. The sales guys ask for it every week. It's definitely something that I think will come in the future, but it's nothing that we, have available right now. So
Yeah. So what about being able to do a search by show me every yellow car that drove through here? Or it has a
yeah,
red one. Can you show me every red vehicle? Do you have that capability?
so we don't have the capability to like filter by um colors. Basically it's just as simple as when an event occurred and what do I have stored basically.
See,
So
because this red guy here, this is the
mhm,
second time he drove by while we're looking at this. And
yeah,
uh, and I would think it would be useful to me over a regular security guard if you were able to tell me, hey, the same vehicle, he's going to come past it again. The same
yeah,
vehicle has driven past your job site, 12 times. Well, now I'm very interested in that vehicle. Why do they keep driving by?
yeah, yeah,
Security guard can't do that for me, but
yep,
you potentially could.
yeah. The so I'll show you kind of what we provide from like a notification or search standpoint. So over here we have this button, and this is what we call our command center. This is basically where those alerts get managed, right? Where we can kind of filter and look at some alerts. So let me pull one up here. I'll go with this construction site. So this is where the geofencing and the, I guess, heat detection kind of portion comes in. Looks like this is a good one. So, right, it says intrusion detection. Here's the time, here's the date. And we can basically expand this and look at the event clip of what happened. So we'll
Oh,
switch.
I'm glad the thing is strobing. I was going to ask if you activate the strobe, how that affected the video. And I think I just got the answer to my question.
Yeah. Obviously, this is in an extremely low light scenario.
Yeah.
Um, where obviously you can see like on the center camera, it's really not that this is the same clip, right? You can see it's the same timestamp, 2155. The
I
right
see.
camera is obviously a little bit more affected because it's in such a low light scenario that the camera's trying to pick up as much light as it can. So that's why it kind of looks dramatic on this view, but you can see on the center view, it's really not. You can see the blue lights flashing, but it's not really bothered per se.
Yeah. I'm sorry I interrupted where you were going by bringing that up.
No, you're good. But you can obviously see the geo fence here of,
Yeah.
hey, here's drawn. You can draw the left one and the right one. And you can see as soon as this guy enters, picks up that heat signature and says, hey, heat signatures detected. That's what caused this alert. And then from this frame, this is basically where the monitoring company lives, right? Hey, alert came in. Let's go look at it. You can actually jump into the live stream and live stream all three views at the same time, um, in real time on this site. Um, and then you can toggle back and forth between obviously the thermal and the center camera. It looks like they might have moved this unit from when the alert happened. Um, but then, the event clip, you can go and obviously toggle between, everything. But that's kind of what you can search by and what you can look at, right? Because if you have a really defined boundary and no one should be there from X time to X time, you could go back and say, hey, I want to see what happened, on October 9th. There was an incident that happened. I want to go see what it was and what the person looked like and all sorts of kind of stuff like that. So and then as well, this is where you would put in procedures, right? This one is, hey, identify the type of activity, make a note. If it's a person, use the speaker, ask them to leave. If they don't leave, then that's when you call the cops. So that's basically what you would define for the monitoring company and instruct them on what to do. You can have contacts save in here of who to contact. This is the schedule, from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. And then as well, there's a deterrent schedule where we basically can automate the system to say, hey, if there's a heat signature detected in here, I want, the strobe lights to come on. I want the floodlight to come on. And then as well, I want an audio recording to just automatically play as soon as something's detected in after hours, right? And then obviously the monitoring company can interfere and use the live talk down speaker, to help them realize, hey, I'm actually being watched, yada, yada, yada. So it kind of just depends on the scenario. But this is where the, notifications, the command center, this is kind of where all that stuff happens. As far as like alerts and what I can search by and what I can go back and find from the past.
So Can I buy these services from you without leasing the trailer? Can I put physical cameras in like I do now and use your service for the software and the monitoring?
That's so interesting because before today, I've never been asked that question, and you're the second person to ask me that question today.
Today,
Yeah, yeah,
what are the odds?
I know. So we do not provide like our software or our services to any like other, like if you have your own equipment, we're not going to provide any of that stuff. The hardware and the software are kind of married together. And we typically don't do one without the other.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if I have a failure of hardware, how long do I would I have to expect to wait before what? Do you send a remote tech to come and repair it on site?
That's now most of the time, in most cases, we can usually resolve technical issues remotely from the system.
Yeah.
Now, if needs be, right, we have third-party technicians that we work with. I'll show you on the map here. We have technicians all over the country. I mean, they're kind of anywhere and everywhere, especially in California. I mean, you can see how many units we have kind of
These,
spread across
these
the.
are all your units.
Yep.
Wow.
So, I mean, in Los Angeles, greater Los Angeles alone, I mean, it's pretty
Now, each
throw.
one of those has a number in it. So yeah, I see. It's even more than it looks.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. You get these little clusters. It's funny, it's a really interesting thing because a lot of times we'll deploy a unit somewhere, right? Maybe in like a business park or an industrial place, and we call it the balloon effect because typically we're able to deter some crime, but then the crime usually ends up going down the street to the neighbors. And then the neighbors call us and say, "Hey, I think that stuff is pushing the crime to me." So it's kind of funny. You'll see these little clusters of them that are close to each other. And then the neighbors start calling and say, "I need one too," because stuff just keeps coming down the street
So
here.
in effect, you're cowboys, but you're not wrangling cattle, you're wrangling criminals. You're just you're pushing them all. You're
Yeah. It's like,
funneling
where do
them
we want to
all.
direct these people? Yep. So yeah, I mean, obviously, they're a really popular option and something that we could look at doing as well. And we do this quite frequently is a like a 30-day or 14-day free pilot where we send you one completely for free. We want to make sure that it's the right solution that you're looking for.
Mhm.
Uh, and that's kind of a nice scenario because you don't really have to designate the dollars or sign a contract. We just want to make sure that you like it and that it's what you're looking for before you decide to kind of move forward. So that's something that we could look at doing. We could send you one, you could set it up on the site and kind of see if it's working, and just try testing it out for a while and see if it is something you want to move forward with. That's definitely something that we're open to doing as well,
I
just so you know
appreciate the
exactly
offer.
what you're getting. Yeah.
So you were showing your deployment of all of these, but we were talking about your support. So
Oh yeah. What I was getting at is that the technician, like for example, the fact that you're in California, if you had a camera that was down and we couldn't repair it remotely, we typically have somebody on site within 1 to 2 business days, to either troubleshoot or replace, if you're having camera problems. It's
okay,
quick. Yeah.
what does your deployment look like in my area? I want to see if you're wrangling criminals towards me.
Where is, maybe you can direct me, where's Alameda from here?
Go all the way up to the San Francisco Bay.
Oh yeah, Northern California. Huh?
Where are you?
We're
Oh, that's
located in
Monterey.
Utah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're getting warm. Zoom in there. All right, zoom in a little bit more. There's Alameda to the bottom, the island. Yep,
Right
you
here.
pointed at, yep.
I was gonna say it
Looks like
looks
you don't
pretty
have any
barren.
in Alameda.
I was gonna say, I wonder what this is right here.
I bet you that's a Home Depot.
It is Home Depot. Yep.
And
I was
you've
gonna
got
say
two
I
of
was
them there.
out there. I have a few different units on Mare Island,
Oh
which I
yeah.
think is, but yeah, it
What
looks like we need some
what's
people
that one in West Oakland?
right here
No, up.
or up here.
Yeah, right there. What's that?
It looks like that is intelligent transportation.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Looks like
That's right. Oh, I see.
trucking yard or something. Interesting.
So, is leasing the only option that I have, or can I buy this hardware from you?
You can purchase it outright. The downside to purchasing it outright is that even though you own the equipment, just like I said before, how the equipment and the software are married,
Yeah.
even if you own the equipment outright, you still have to pay a monthly software subscription to access the VMS, the alerts, basically all the software backend.
But is are companies that just have open-ended like Lowe's or Home Depot, I would imagine that they're doing this long term. Are they buying the hardware?
Something very, very, very interesting. Glad you brought this up. So, for example, Walmart, huge customer of ours. They probably have 800 or 900 of these things. Um, Originally, they came and they said, "We're just going to buy them all outright. We want to own the equipment. We'll service them." That's another thing as well, is if you own the equipment, we don't offer any like service package. So basically you're just on your own for equipment repairs, which isn't great,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
So after about a year and a half, Walmart came back to us and said, "Hey, we want to switch. We want to go back to the full subscription because we don't want to have to keep dealing with having to repair and having to basically maintain the units." So I think most of the Walmart units are actually back on the full subscription model, just for the ease of not having to worry or designate employees or have to, find people to come and repair and upkeep the units. Um, so yeah, I there was definitely some of that at the beginning, and that's something that we offer. Like a lot of police departments do that because they have to use grant money and they have to purchase something, and ugh, not fun to deal with. But obviously we're trying to steer most people in the subscription route. Obviously it's good business for us, but at the same time, like the way it's structured is if you buy a really expensive piece of equipment and something breaks, it's really not great to be on the hook for having to repair it.
Yeah.
So
Well, so where I was going, my thought process of asking about, can I have your software look at my cameras, is that I'm thinking it would be cost prohibitive for me to have four of them on one site, but perhaps I could have one that's at the street where it's most visible. Every person that's going to be passing a particular job site is going to enter from a particular street. They see that one conspicuous one, but I cover the rest of the site with uh you
your
know
other cameras.
PTZ cameras or some other kind of cameras,
Yeah.
but ideally all tied into the same software.
Yeah, all tied into the same VMS. Now the Hike Vision cameras, does Hike Vision like provide a VMS for you, or what does that look like?
I mean, they have a proprietary viewing software that
Hmm.
I can administer it, and and obviously live view and all the rest of the recorder options.
Yeah,
Uh, but they don't have anything that does what you do.
yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm just trying to figure out what the best option would be. And obviously we want to kind of display all of our options here and obviously have you choose what's going to work best for you, right? Because you know your business best and you know your budgets and all that stuff. So I'm just trying to think of like what a good next step would be to kind of help this. Do you think it would be the pilot route and send one out to you guys and let you play with it or try it out? Should I send you some quotes and look at maybe some different sites, or what are you thinking?
Well, so I'm interested in getting some quotes,
Okay.
certainly.
Okay.
Um, but I just, I'm not really clear. Well, maybe I am. So the answer is you'll only provide the software for your own proprietary trailer, and that's it. If
Yep.
I want to add some other cameras that are on the same location, I can't tie that in.
You can't tie it in. No,
Okay.
I think just the way that it's built, it's just not built to basically allow basically anything outside of our platform or our system into and I'm sure it's some sort of security reason or some technical reason that I don't even know. But
Yeah.
yeah, we can't do that.
Okay. All right. All right. So what should I have asked you that I didn't?
You honestly, I've actually been very impressed with you at the amount of questions that you've had and that they're all relative to the system because as you can imagine, we get a lot of interesting people inquiring about the systems. And I've been really impressed. Um, you actually did touch on it, you asked it, but I think I got so sidetracked and distracted. The only other thing that I think I should mention is basically how do you retrieve footage and where's the footage being stored,
Well,
right?
that's right. I wanted to know, is it all going to the cloud or is it actually have a recorder in the trailer?
Yeah. So I'll pull up actually we'll just pull up this one for reference. So the units are all set to record 24 hours a day, all the time. They're always set to record. We typically hold that footage for 30 days. There's a 2 terabyte SSD that sits on the actual system itself. It sits up in the head unit. So it's far away from people, right? Trying to make it difficult for people to get into. It sits up in that head unit. Um, now, the 30 days is basically like a rolling timeline, right? Basically, after 30 days, the 2 terabytes is full and it just writes over itself after that roughly 30 days.
That
Now,
doesn't sound like enough space. 2 terabyte.
well, yeah, 2 terabytes recorded all the time with 3 cameras is roughly 30 days, is basically what we've discovered.
I see. I'm sorry I interrupted.
Now, no, you're good. You're good. It's a great question. Um, so basically the video is being recorded all the time, and obviously you can go in and stream whenever you like. Um, but to grab the footage is actually super easy. You come into this history tab, um, and say, hey, I want to go back and look at something on, March 7th. And I know it happened at, 1 a.m. or whatever you want to select your time.
Yeah.
It'll basically bring up these little snapshots of different areas that the camera is looking at. You can kind of set them to, kind of roam and look in different directions at different times. And you can kind of scroll through. This is taking a picture. This is set to take a picture every 5 minutes of basically this scene.
Oh, it's a time lapse type thing. Now, is this color because you have enough light in this parking lot, or is this a camera that has its own light source?
So this is somewhat of a well lit parking lot, but most of the cameras you can see kind of on these ones. These are the thermal cameras that are taking those snapshots.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to make it easy to basically identify a change in the environment, right?
Right.
Okay, between this scene and this scene, there was a vehicle here, and then they left. So I'm just going to pull that 5 minutes of footage. I don't have to go pull 3 hours when I'm only looking for like a 5 minute event or
Right.
Yep.
So I see how that's useful.
Basically what we do is we hit select video, we hit the duration, say, hey, I want to pull a 15-minute duration of footage. And I know something happened between, 1:45 and 2 o'clock. If we hit request video, we can select all the different camera angles, right? The left, the center, the right thermal, basically all. I just want to see everything, in that time frame. As soon as we hit request video, the video is actually delivered to you via email within about 5 minutes of you requesting it. So basically the system receives that, and it's basically sending that video to you in real time from your request.
So it's
And then
coming from the trailer.
yeah, it's from the edge. Yep.
Okay.
And so when you download that footage, right? So say I downloaded this 15 minutes of footage, it's in my email inbox. When you download and request that footage is archived in the cloud forever. So those videos are obviously prioritized because you're pulling them and you want to look at them. So those videos are never going to go away. They're always saved and stored.
So when you say forever, you mean as long as I'm a subscriber?
As long as you're a customer, yes. But you also have the option to basically download that and just save it on your own computer or wherever you want to save it.
Right.
It's saved in our system, as long as you're a customer. But you could download that footage and you own that footage and keep it for, however long you want to store it on your hard drive or computer or whatever you want. So.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, that's easy.
Yeah, super easy. You don't have to contact us. You don't have to go to the unit. I mean, it's pretty simple. Just hop in here and select the day and the time, select video, and it's delivered via
So all the quotes that you have given me have been with having someone live monitoring.
Yep.
What if I have one security guard on duty that has access to the video, and so I've got him on site at one location, but I'm monitoring. I've got trailers, LVT trailers at 2 or 3 other sites. Can I do this myself, and how much less money would it be to lease the hardware if I'm not getting the monitoring?
Yeah. So the monitoring is basically like an a la carte cost. It's just an added in cost, right? And the monitoring is $300 per month per unit. So for example, right, if you had 4 units, that's $1,200 a month that you would be saving if you're monitoring it yourself, which is totally doable. We have customers do that all the time. And say, for example, a lot of people start without it and they say, hey, I don't want the monitoring. And they get 3 months into their contract and they say, hey, I want this unit monitored, but I want to keep this one. What I'm saying is you can add or take away that service at any time, right? You don't have to sign up for it for the whole contract or not sign up for it for the whole contract. We can turn it on and off pretty easily as you need it.
So if I had one trailer, one unit, for the minimum duration, and I was paying the $3,500. If I do my own monitoring, it's $3,200.
Yep, it's just a $300, it kind of add on. So
okay. Yeah. Yep. And you do your own, right? LVT does this in-house.
So we actually contract with the third-party monitoring group that monitors all of our units. So whether it's Home Depot or Walmart or whoever, obviously some of those guys do it on their own, but some of them we just use a third-party purely monitoring company that does all of our units.
It just seems like such a I mean, my concern is that if I have this on my site and I saw the number of these units that you have deployed, am I really going to get the attentiveness that I want, considering that the people that are doing the monitoring are task saturated.
Yeah, that's a great question. How the monitoring, and that might be a question for the monitoring company directly. From my understanding is how the monitoring company is set up, right? I'm curious to know. Right, not all of our not all of our units are being monitored, right? They're not all 8,000. I mean, there's probably 1,000 of them that actually have like a physical person monitoring them. And I know the monitoring company specifically only allows one person, like one operator, to be designated to a certain amount of units before, before they deem as too task saturated, right? It's
Yeah.
not like they're being kind of bombarded with too many to handle. We actually just recently switched to a different third party provider that has been much more, how do you say, detail oriented, to the monitoring
Well,
responsiveness.
yeah. So basically, you're just going where I was suggesting. So we've gone through one security company after the other,
Yeah,
and it seems as though that the personnel that do this kind of work, there's just a lot of turnover in that industry, and
yes.
so I'm concerned. What if I am unhappy with the performance of the monitoring, but I like your product? I mean, do we have an alternate? Yeah, do we have other options for that?
So a lot of customers, um, and there's nothing that says you can't do this. Um, Basically, if you love our product, but
Yeah,
if you have a different security company or a different monitoring company that you know of,
yeah,
you basically can go out and find whatever monitoring company you want and have them monitor this for you, right? There's just one that we provide that we like, that we found that works really well. But that's not to say that you go out and find, if you have your buddy Joe that works at Stealth Monitoring that they want to do this, that's totally fine. I mean, we can get them onboarded. There's no extra cost that we charge to have more users, right? You can have 40 people on this system, or you could have 2 people. It's just, there's no extra cost for that. So we do have some people do that. They say, hey, I have a buddy that runs this monitoring or security company. Can we have them do it? Totally. If you feel comfortable with that and you want to do that, we'll totally let you do that. We're not limiting you to just our monitoring company. That's just kind of who we found that we partner with and suggest.
so
So
basically, once I have access to once I'm a subscriber and I have access to the video cameras, I can allow anybody access to it that I select.
yep, you're the administrator, so you can, create different usernames and passwords for people, and you could even give them, you can restrict or allow as much access if you want. If you just want someone to have you only access just to be able to pop in and see what's going on, and that's it.
By the
If you
way,
got it, go ahead.
giving people access, can I specify that they only have access during certain hours?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's
Can't
pretty
do that
sweet.
with Hike Vision. Hike Vision, I can set up a user and specify what cameras, but I can't choose what time of day. I just can't have it just after hours.
Yeah, and we can do all the features basically. Like if you want them to be able to move the cameras, but you're afraid they're gonna jack around with the speaker, you can turn the speaker feature off for them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So if I'm a subscriber and I'm having trouble with the interface, do you have a telephone support?
Yep, we have I don't know if it's 24 hours, but we do have a full-on support team.
24 hours would be nice, because guess what? The time that
It's always,
I'm stuck looking at this is in the middle of the night.
yeah. So I was gonna say I might have to double check on that, but I know the monitoring company is obviously 24 hours.
Yeah.
Um, that's another thing I wanted to talk about as well, is like uptime, right? Um, this is a very interesting and unique system in the fact that it's not tethered to anything, no power, no internet, no nothing. So obviously there is going to be times where the system is not up, right? Whether it be, one camera goes down and it just has to reboot itself and it's down for 10 minutes or whatever it may be. But there is going to be time that is the one disadvantage that I would say with a standalone system is you don't have power and you're running on cellular, which is fine. We typically, as a company, like spread across those 8,000 units, we typically hover around a 95 to 96% uptime. Obviously comparable to something plugged in, doesn't look that great, but industry wise, in the standalone security, unit world, that is pretty much untouchable compared to like other competitors that you'll look at as far as uptime goes. So that's something that we brag about, but it's like if you're comparing it to something that's plugged in, it doesn't look it doesn't look great. But keeping in mind that it's totally, we don't have to tap into any power, any network, anything like that. It's pretty impressive that it's.
But can I plug it in?
You can. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously that will dramatically increase your uptime and usually hovers around 99 to 100%. But yeah, there's a power spot right on the trailer. If you have power, you can absolutely plug it in, and that will obviously decrease.
Well, that's good, because I'm sure there's times I'm going to have power available.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, totally. That's totally an option. So
I have trouble with mobile hotspots in that they just stop working. And then the only thing that I can do is go and unplug it from power and reboot it.
yeah.
Are you dealing with the same thing with that?
So going back to like cellular capabilities, we use a platform that we've actually developed here. It's called an Envoy SIM program, in the fact that it's not limited to just one cell carrier, right? So like if you had a Verizon hotspot and it's not working, you have to go reboot it. The system will basically, right, if it's running on Verizon and it's utilizing the Verizon tower and that blips for whatever reason, it's automatically going to move over to the next best network that's available pretty seamlessly. That's a new feature that came out last year that's been like wildly successful in that uptime, right? Because a lot of times before we would have like a dual SIM, we put like an AT&T card in and a Verizon card in, and it would work fine, right? I mean, sometimes you get those blips or those spaces in the day where something goes out or it has to reboot itself, which it's not a big deal. It's just more of an annoyance, right? So then they switched to this Envoy program, and it's pretty seamless. Obviously, it's a huge benefit not having to use, just one cell carrier, but it will usually just switch over pretty seamlessly as soon as it detects that something is wrong. So it's pretty sweet.
So the earlier method is if the carrier had a problem, but the problem that I'm having, well, okay, granted, I don't have more than one carrier. I just have hotspot devices.
Yeah.
It's the physical device that seems to be
Mm.
crashing in my experience. So
Yeah.
if it's doing some kind of switch to an alternate source, if the first one goes down, is it an alternate device also, or are we still limited by the physical modem or whatever it is staying up?
Yeah. So I think it's actually just a physical device. So obviously, if there's something wrong with the device, um, that's a different story. But usually we can remotely detect that that's the issue, right? If the cradle point modem is bad, that's what we use in the systems is cradle point modem. Usually we can detect that.
But if
Obviously
it's
that's not
down,
going to affect
you
like,
can't do anything remotely, right?
yes, but the good part is it's not recording, or excuse me, it's not affecting any recording capabilities
Oh,
still recording, right? And you can still access that footage after the fact, right? After something gets resolved. Pretty much you're just limiting the ability to view that camera in that real time. Does that make sense?
okay. I think I've made this too complicated. How often do I have to go to the trailer and press the reset button?
Not often, I can promise you that much. It is very rare. Like I said, most things we can do remotely. It's pretty rare that you're going to have to actually go touch anything on the trailer. So
Okay.
simple as that.
All right, very good. All right. Well, I think that you have answered my questions. I think that I hadn't realized that I had as many questions as I did, but as you were going through your presentation, things were just popping up that I hadn't even thought of until, like how these strobes affect the particular camera. I mean, I was thinking that when I was standing at Home Depot, and I'm like, wow, these strobes are so bright, so intense. And it was flashing off of my car that I parked right next to it. And I thought, well, this video can't be very good with all of this bright flashing light. But anyway, I understand now how other lighting can mitigate that.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for jumping on Friday afternoon. Always
Yeah.
happy to discuss.
Thank you, Taylor.
Yeah. So I can get some different quotes drawn up for you and sent over, just kind of basic examples that you can see. I'll do some with the monitoring, I'll do some without, just so you can see the hard numbers of where you're going to land with what.
Great. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And then as far as like next steps, do you want me to maybe check in with you next week and see what you're thinking, or what do you think?
Well, let me take a look at what you present to me first, and
Okay.
then I'll reach out to you.
Okay. That sounds like a plan. I'll put those together. I probably will have them over to you either later this evening or Monday morning. How about that?
Monday's good.
Okay.
I'm not gonna look at anything else for today.
Yeah. This is my last thing that I need to do, and I'm going home.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Well, I'll let you get home. If you have
You.
questions in the meantime, shoot me an email. I'll send you my email and my info, and we'll be in touch. All right.
Great. All right. Have
Okay.
a good one. Bye now.
Thanks, man. Have a good day.